When we were determining the theme of this conference 2 years ago in the midst of the economic crisis, we pondered what can we call this conference? What will be happening in 2 years from now? That's why we have Reporting New Realities. People say, why is it so broad? Well, it's broad because the only thing we knew would be the truth in 2 years was that we would be reporting new realities. And if there was any economic recovery, it would probably be led by Asia. We have an excellent program awaiting for you. What makes this conference unique, in our opinions, is that most of our panels are panels of journalists. And we feel that journalists can give you the best briefing on any city, any region, any country, because they are out there on the ground reporting the issues every day.
But why do we put so much emphasis on journalists? And it's really that we feel that journalists are incredibly important as educators and communicators.
Now, I think one reason we want to do this is we really want to bring people here to show off not just the JMSC, the Journalism Media Studies Center, not only Hong Kong U, but really Hong Kong and China and what's happening in our part of the world.
In a few years, the entire higher education system in Hong Kong, the government-funded universities, is going to expand by 30%, again funded by the government. All the universities in Hong Kong right now are actively recruiting from all around the world an additional 1,000 professors to Hong Kong. So this expansion is kind of unheard of in the world at a short span of time. So it's very exciting.
International relations and history tells us that shifting power balances are often associated with tensions, but there are also balances that in many ways are balances that seem to be inevitable and are proper. We have a great panel to share perspectives drawn from around the region.
Let me make the first proposition that the new reality, which is the theme of this conference, has been with us for a long time. The rise of Asia, Charles talked about the rise of China, the recent emergence of India, the relative decline of Europe and the United States. This is not a new reality. It's a reality which has been with us for now at least more than a decade. Barely 300 years ago, China and India together accounted for almost 50% of world output and income. And it's only in the last 300 years that this was reversed. And what we have witnessed much more impressively in China's case, and much more moderately or modestly in India's case in the last decade, is the recovery of that space. So again, while Wall Street Journal would call us the emerging economies, we believe we are the re-emerging economies.
In order to have a better understanding of China, I advise you to take a so-called dual identity approach to understand China. In the coming 10 years, I tend to think China will be an inward-looking country, just like Mr. Hisayoshi just mentioned that Japan will be an inward-looking country, China also. So that will be a very strange scenario in the world. As for China's relations with outside the world, especially U.S.-China relations, is not a predetermined relationship. It's the future of this relationship mainly depends on what we perceive and what we do today.
ASEAN itself has realized that unless it reconstructs itself, rejuvenates itself, then it's going to be left behind in this new Asian drama that is being played out. ASEAN is the only entity in the region with 0 enemies, but a lot of friends.
Well, I think this is an opportunity to meet a lot of the real luminaries in Asian media and Asian journalism.
The conference addressed the burning issues of the day. As you can see, even just after the first panel, major themes are emerging. We're facing new realities, right? The crisis, the realignment of world governance, the relationship between development and democracy, the role of the media in China and elsewhere. So these themes are emerging, and it's a great opportunity.
I'm not in the area, so I learn a lot from the discussion about the geopolitical situation, about how the world look at China, how China look at the world, how Hong Kong can play a part in this situation.